Hi everyone, my name is Mary Ellen and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things related to the storytelling industry. If you don't already know me, I write nonfiction under my real name, Mary Ellen Quigley, and I write romance under my pen name, M.E. Laverne. In today's video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite authors, J.R. Ward, and how she inspires me in my own writing career. And before we get going, you will notice I am in a different spot. You will hear wind chimes in the background and probably my dog running. I'm sitting out on the deck. Let me show you my view. Excuse the curve of my ring light here, but this is my current view. I'm outside, my dog is in the corner, and we are just enjoying sitting outside. So it could get noisy, but it was nice outside, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sit out here and record the video. Also, you'll notice where we closed in a window, bathroom window that we no longer have. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about J.R. Ward. Why am I talking about J.R. Ward today? Well, my sister and I had the pleasure of going to J.R. Ward's release party in April. She does like a release party for every new release she does in the spring for her Black Dagger Brotherhood series. This has been a thing she's been doing for years. I've been going for a long time, and the first one I went to was back when she was still in little bookstores, and it was like maybe 50 people that showed up, and the last one I went to before this one was one in, I'm wanting to say it was in Kentucky somewhere. I can't remember. It was like Florence area of Kentucky, I think. And there were so many people that showed up to the book signing and to the book talk that basically they were too big for the Barnes & Noble, and we were spilling out of Barnes & Noble and like standing in between bookshelves and all kinds of stuff. And that was when she moved it to like larger venues after that because she outgrew the bookstore. So she's come a long way, and I didn't go for like 10 years because for a while I lived in a different area of the state. I lived in Virginia for a while, and I was always working. There was always a reason why I couldn't go to the event, so this is the first time I've went in probably 10 years. I absolutely love going to J.R. Ward's events every year, and I know that next year is going to be a big one because it's the 20-year anniversary of Dark Lover, which is the first book of the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and as we all know, that is really the series that catapulted her to fame. To be fair, she writes under Jessica Bird. I think she has another pen name, but I cannot remember what the other pen name. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought she had 3. Maybe it's only 2, but I know that she writes under Jessica Bird, and she writes other things other than the Black Dagger Brotherhood, but that's really the series that most people know her from and that has made her famous. I have been reading her books since the very first book. I remember walking into, I think it was Borders at the time, or maybe it was Barnes & Noble. I'm pretty sure it was Borders, and I saw the book and it caught my attention because the red shiny cover, and I was like, oh, it's vampires, that sounds interesting. Picked it up, was hooked, and I have read every single book since, and I have not missed a single book. As I've gotten further into my writing career, this has really inspired me as a writer myself. Because one of the things, especially when I went to this last one in April with my sister has never read, I think that was a bug. We don't have cicadas yet, so as long as it's not a cicada or a bee, I'm good. If you see me running, it's because it's a bee. Okay. My sister is not a fan of J.R. Ward. She's never read her books, but I wanted her to go with me because my sister is also a writer, and I wanted her to understand why I'm so inspired every time I go to these events. So let me break it down for you guys. First of all, she creates characters and worlds that people fall in love with to the point that they actually almost treat them like they're real people. When we went to the event, it was fun to look at the people who were dressed up like characters, who were acting out scenes from the book, who had the entire world memorized, who asked her for things like, can we have a layout of the brothers' mansion? Like, they really embody this world and have fallen in love with the story so much that they want every single piece of this fake world that she's made, and it also makes them want to come back to the world over and over again, which is why the series remains popular. And I thought, isn't that just the stroke of a good writer, is to be able to create a pretend world that lives in your head and make people fall in love with it so much that they just read every single book you release in that series because they love that world. How cool is that? It really inspired me to take a look at the books that I'm writing and to ask myself the question of, if I was not in my head, if I'm a stranger who doesn't know this story, do I care enough about this world that I've created or these characters I've created to make people want to continue reading them? For example, one of the things that she has done to the characters in the series is she has created little oddities about them, little quirks and things that they like that people memorize. For example, you know that Vicious likes the Red Sox and usually has a Red Sox cap. You know that Rage likes Tootsie Pops, and so he always has a pocket full of Tootsie Pops, or he's eating one, right? I have a very clear picture in my head of who that person is and what they like, because she's created that character that way in the book. And that is why people can dress up like the character. It made me take a step back and re-look at my series. And I'm going, if I'm writing a series, how do I make people want to come back? It's different if you're writing a one book, like a standalone book, right? Where you're not coming back to that world. But if you're going to continually come back to that world, you have to give people a reason to come back to it. If it's not interesting, or if you don't care about the character, no one's going to read the second, third, fourth, fifth book in the series. And that is something that J.R. Ward does very well. The second thing that inspires me about her is that she's just a normal person, not only in real life when you meet her one-on-one, but with the events she does with the fans. It's not her standing up doing a presentation with people. It is her getting down in the crowd, talking to people as though they're people, and just having real conversations about stuff. The event is actually about 2 hours of just Q&A, where fans can just ask whatever they want to ask. Essentially, it is a 2-hour just chatting with fans and hanging out with fans. She's the one person I can honestly say that I have met in real life that I consider kind of a celebrity, because I love reading. So my celebrities are authors. But unfortunately, I can say that I've met a couple authors in real life that were not nice. That you love their books, you love their characters, you're excited to get your book signed, you meet them and you're like, I don't know if I'll ever buy another book of yours because I didn't like you as a person. That also inspired me because I never want to become this person. Number one, I don't know if I will ever reach that level of like fandom where people are filling up event centers to go talk to me about my books. But I don't ever want to be in a situation where it's us and them. I always want to be like, I'm one of you, I'm your friend, let's hang out, let's chat like normal people. Because otherwise, why do it? Like, if you lose who you are as a person, why do it? And she has not lost that. She is just a normal person. I'm also inspired by the fact that she doesn't release like a ridiculous amount of books. So what I mean by that is, I feel like, and I don't know this by heart, but I feel like she really releases like 1 to 2 books per year, and they're both really good long size books for the most part. When there's a third book mixed in the year, it's usually like a novella or a short story of some sort. So I love that she takes her time and doesn't feel rushed. In fact, there's been a few years where there's been only 1 book released, but the book that we got was high quality and a good book. So not worrying about other people's standards of how fast you write. I feel like in the self-publishing world, which is my experience in romance, there's this like release books quickly kind of thing where every 2-3 months you have to have a new book out. And I get it, because when you're doing self-publishing, it's really about how many eyes you can get on your book as quick as possible. But if you want a good quality book, I always question like, how good is the quality if you are pushing out books that quickly? For me personally, I'm just not able to do that. If I'm pushing out a book every 3 months, it's not going to be good quality. And I actually had that goal for myself because I'm part of the 20 books to 50K. And, you know, the whole theory that if you want to make your first $50,000, you need to have about 20 books out once a quarter. It just was not a book I felt comfortable releasing to the public. And knowing that she really takes her time to plot and think through everything in detail was also very inspiring to me. And lastly, I appreciate that she knows when something isn't working and knows how to pivot. And to put this in perspective, the Black Dagger Brotherhood series has been going now, next year it'll be 20 years. And one of the complaints that the fans have had in the last few years has been how big the series has become. There are so many characters, so many subplots, so many sidelines, like so much going on. And when you got to like the last few books prior to this most recent release, there were just too many characters to keep track of. You'd be like, who's that person again? Or who's that person made it to again? And where did we see that person? I don't remember that person. And it just became too many characters. One of the things that she has done in this most recent release, and she pissed off a lot of fans in the last book with a huge time jump, but the reason that she did that was because now it's kind of being brought back to basics, and it's kind of the next generation of the Black Dagger Brotherhood that she's working on right now. But what she's done by doing this is put the focus back on the core group, not all these gazillion characters that have happened in the last like 20 years. She's sort of brought it back down to basics. And I think that was a good learning lesson for me as an author as well. I've seen a lot of authors that, you know, 27, actually, I'm not going to name names, but there's an author that has like 30 something books in a series. And that series is so far off base from where it started. I can't even read it anymore. Like it's too much for me and I can't do it. And so I stopped reading them because it's just too much. And there are multiple authors. There's one specific I'm thinking of, but there are many who have done this. And I love that she was able to really look at herself critically and be like, hey, I need to change this because I'm losing it a little bit. And I appreciate that because I think sometimes being my own critic is both hard for me and easy. I never think my work is good enough, but then I also am always afraid that if something is working, to change it, because I'm afraid that if I change it, I'll lose what progress I've made. But to see someone as popular as J.R. Ward be like, hey, I'm going to take a chance here because I am starting to lose some core fans here because it's too much, was a good learning experience. So, who is an author that inspires you? I would love to hear in the comment section or to do a response video. Who is someone who inspires you in writing that you look at their career and aspire to do that yourself? I'd love to hear about it. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so. Give me a thumbs up to let me know you liked the video. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Bye.